in September. Venerable Husky Stadium now in its 89th year, playing host to the #3 team in the country, the Oklahoma Sooners and the Huskies of Washington. You're watching ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Hampton Hotels. What a beautiful sight for a college football game. Husky Stadium, opened in 1920, now seats 72,500 people. Good evening, everybody. Mike Patrick, Todd Blackledge. It's great to have you with us. If you are a Husky fan, things haven't been going so well. You're coming off of a heartbreaking and controversial loss a week ago. Your defense is struggling. You're facing one of the great offenses in the country. Your #1 running back is headed for surgery, and it's so bad your mascot, the Husky, hurt himself chasing a squirrel. He won't be here tonight. He'll be home watching it on television. And oh, by the way, Oklahoma is a potentially great opponent.
Is that mascot out 3 to 4 weeks? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
You're right about Oklahoma. Offensively, they are outstanding. I mean, in their first 2 games, they've averaged over 540 yards a game. They've scored over 50 in both games. They have it all. I mean, you look up front where it all starts with an offense. They've got a big physical offensive line that's 4 seniors and a junior. Then they've got a wealth of talent and depth at all the skilled positions. They can move guys into a lot of different spots, and it's all run by a sophomore quarterback who is mature beyond his years, who's an outstanding decision maker, knows how to distribute the football. If this offense keeps going and developing the way they are right now, when the season's over, they'll be one of the very best in all of college football.
They certainly will. The people around here were asking, when could it happen that Washington could turn the corner? It could have happened last week as they played Brigham Young, a very, very good football team, but it didn't. It came down to the end of the ball game, and the great Jake Locker, down by a touchdown with 2 seconds to go, made a brilliant run, but when he got up, he flipped the football in the air. The officials made a very controversial call, flagged him for an excessive celebration, 15 yards. That set the extra point back. As far as you can see right there, it was blocked. They lose the ball game. It just had to tear the Huskies' heart out. So people are asking, how do you go on from there?
Yeah. Well, you just have to. I mean, no amount of complaining or bickering is going to change the outcome. You're 0-2, and when you put the film of your next opponent on and see Oklahoma, it brings you back to reality right away. And I think they just have to follow the lead of their leader, Jake Locker. He's the sophomore quarterback. He was the one that made the mistake. Nobody feels worse about it than him, but he's ready to put it behind him and move ahead, and the rest of the team needs to follow that lead.
2 minutes away here in beautiful Seattle, Oklahoma and Washington. The kickoff is next.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by CDW, the right technology right away. Chase Freedom, introducing rewards points you can use like cash. Visit chase.com/freedom. And GE, imagination at work.
On our show tonight, we'll take a look back at one of the more infamous moments in college football history, a mishap that may have cost the Sooners a national championship. We'll discuss whether or not the Big 12 quarterbacks are the best in the nation, and Todd exhibits the versatility of his palate with a Northwest staple. Got a feeling things will be a little fishy around here tonight. This is the one area of concern Oklahoma has had so far. Their kickoff coverage against Cincinnati was awful. They gave up returns of 51, 63, and 97. This is Jordan Polk trying to get to the outside, and this will not be a big one. He's down at the 18. Holly Rowe works the sidelines for us. Let's check in with her.
Well, Mike, Jake Locker of Washington accounts for 74% of his team's offense. And against this big, physical, fast, aggressive Oklahoma defense, he can't be expected to do it all alone. Their offensive coordinator told me that they have got to have their young receivers defeat bump and run coverage. He's expecting Oklahoma to load up the box to account for Locker. And 6 of these guys, 5 are freshmen, 1's a sophomore. These guys have to grow up quick tonight.
All right, Holly, he has already found his best receiver, DeAndre Goodwin, number 11. It's been the guy he has gone to most frequently so far. This pass for about 4 yards complete to Alvin Logan. You can see the lineups at the top of your screen for both ball clubs.
Now, this game is all about one-on-one matchups for the Washington offense. It starts inside. Those 5 offensive linemen blocking this talented defensive front of Oklahoma. And then you move outside, like Holly said, and these wide receivers having to defeat single coverage most of the night.
It is an enormous offensive line for Washington. Freeman on the carry, and he is stacked up the middle linebacker Ryan Reynolds and Austin English, who has a chance to be an all-conference defensive end. We're in on the tackle. English missed a lot of camp with an appendectomy, but he's healthy now and ready to go.
This is the area now. 3rd down and long, a pass situation. I want to see how Oklahoma defends Jake Locker. Do they try to pressure him and play man-to-man, leaving some running lanes for the scramble, or not? Here they come.
Show blitz back out. Now they come. Locker trying to roll away from that pressure and throws on the run intended for Goodwin. Looked like the ball got on him before he expected it. And 3 and out for Washington.
Jake Locker has a very strong arm. And that time the ball just took off and sailed on him a little bit. When you're rolling out, your body momentum is going to add a little extra zip to the ball. You don't have to try to ump it in there. And that time Jake, obviously adrenaline early in the ball game, that ball just took off on him.
Yeah, that was whistling when it got there.
Yes, sir.
Ballman will punt, and Dominique Franks is deep. Short kick, he says get away. Goes across midfield, but not by much. After a 30-yard kick, Oklahoma will have tremendous starting position. Sam Bradford, an exceptional pocket quarterback. He led the nation in pass efficiency a year ago. He's off to a wonderful start this year. Last week against Cincinnati, set several career marks and threw for 5, count them, 5 touchdown passes.
And what you'll see out of Oklahoma is an up-tempo style. Kevin Wilson, offensive coordinator, says it's like fast break basketball. No huddle, put the pedal to the metal.
DeMarco Murray is the tailback, and he gets the first carry. This is a defense for Washington that has been shredded to the tune of almost 500 yards a game so far.
Well, they have a new system, new defensive coordinator Ed Donatel, spent 12 of the last 13 years in the NFL. First year here with Tyrone Willingham, and he's got a lot of young players out there trying to just hang on right now.
They switch tailback, or check it. DeMarco Murray will get this carry. They'll play 3 different guys, Murray, Brown, and Madu.
And see, you see right now, no huddle, so the linemen right around the ball. It isn't always a hurry up or a quick count, but they always have that capability. Here's a quick snap. Go before the defense is set.
Now, Washington has a chance to substitute if Oklahoma does. But Oklahoma's a little quicker at this.
Well, and the uniqueness of this Oklahoma offense, they have such depth at their skill positions and versatility with a guy like Gresham, the tight end, who can go out and line up like a wide receiver. Right now, he's outside, number 18. They don't have to substitute to get to different looks.
This carry goes down near the 25-yard line for DeMarco Murray. They've also got Brady Eldridge, who was an all-conference fullback. They're playing him as a second tight end, so he gives them additional versatility.
Between Eldridge and Gresham and DeMarco Murray, who can also line up as a wide receiver, they don't have to substitute, and so they can keep the same defensive personnel on the field for their opponent, and that is a real advantage for this Oklahoma offense right now.
First down, Sooners. Bradford giving him the play. And Chris Brown, number 29, comes in at tailback. Brown gets the carry. Nice hole off the left side. Chris Brown to the 10 and knocked down there. Got a sensational block from Lodeholt and from Gresham. They took him to the left side.
Just a stretch play. And also Brody Eldridge, number 83, leading out there. This is an outstanding offensive line and two tight ends that both block extremely well.
And Manuel Johnson, who's 6 feet and 183, was throwing a tremendous block downfield. He's one of the slot guys, and they have some terrific skill position players. Foster and Tio Nessheim were in on that last tackle. And Tyrone Willingham has just got to hope his defense can buck up and only allow a field goal in this opening possession. They bring a five-man rush. Bradford with tremendous protection. Throws, it's incomplete. It was intended for Johnson, but Mezfin Forrester covered the post very, very well.
He really did. I mean, he was in single coverage out there. Washington tried to come with a little pressure. Watch right in the middle of your screen, coming from the left, the post route to the back of the end zone, and Forrester does a nice job of getting his hand on the football, and now 3rd and 10 for the Sooners. So you see all the skill guys looking to the sideline. They are signaling the plays from the sideline after they see Washington's initial defensive setup.
Then Bradford tells the offensive line, and everybody's ready to go. Another blitz coming. Bradford gets it off, complete, touchdown. Joaquin Iglesias. The little slant, the perfect throw against the blitz, and you got to hand it to Bradford. He knew he was going to get it right in the chops and hung in there as Donald Butler was coming straight up the gut after him.
Again, this quarterback is mature beyond his years. He's a sophomore. He was the most efficient quarterback in college football last year, and he is even better to start the 2008 season.
Stevens with the point after. Didn't take long for Oklahoma, did it? They're up 7 in Seattle. You're watching ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Hampton Hotels, where the 3rd-ranked Oklahoma Sooners are taking on the Washington Huskies here at Husky Stadium in Seattle, Washington. Due to time constraints, we move ahead to further action. So Oklahoma gets to start at the Washington 47. This time out of the eye, Chris Brown, a huge hole. Brown, 30. To the 22-yard line before he is spun down by Jory Fulgerson, the freshman who was starting at safety. It's a gain of 25.
Well, I think Oklahoma got away with a little one there because Gresham, the tight end, moved a little prematurely. They didn't call it. He got an excellent block, as did the fullback, Brody Eldridge, number 83, and a big play for the Sooners.
On the run, the throw to the end zone, touchdown Gresham. A perfect strike to the tight end in stride, and if there is anything that Gresham is great at, it's scoring touchdowns. He had a tight end school record a year ago with 11.
And that shows you the uniqueness of this Oklahoma offense from a personnel standpoint. The play before, Gresham lines up with his hand on the ground, a tight end gets a big-time block. The next play, they put him on the other side of the formation in a slot like a wide receiver, and he runs a one-on-one route to the end zone and beats a defensive back for the touchdown. I mean, that is versatility at its finest.
He is from Ardmore, Oklahoma, just one of the weapons on an offense that so far this year is averaging 54.5 yards or 54.5 points a game, and the extra point by Stevens is missed. Third touchdown this year for Gresham.
Look at the touchdown again. The play before, he was blocking on the right. They go hurry up, and he goes to the other side of the formation. Now he's in the slot, and he's going to run a corner route, and this is the guy covering him, the safety. And you see he's a little bit late getting in position, and by the time the ball snapped, he's already beat. He's inside of him. It's an outside route, and Sam Bradford, very accurate on the move, puts it right for Gresham.
Kind of targets you quarterbacks love. He is 6'6". He's huge.
Yeah.
and he can run. So the turnover produces a touchdown and really hurts Washington because they had stabilized everything. Moreland to kick to Polk and Johnson. Polk's the guy they want to have the ball in his hands because he's got the speed. He'll take it just inside the 10. Has the seam. To the races and just caught around the back of the jersey. Desmond Jackson saved the touchdown.
You know, if he has a jersey that's tucked in and snug fitting,
yeah,
that's a touchdown.
Yes, sir.
The jersey's a little bit loose on the back, and they're able to just grab it, because if they don't grab it, he is gone. The Oregon 100-meter sprint champion a year ago, great speed, and just gets dragged down from behind by Desmond Jackson.
And this is what hurt Oklahoma a week ago. They gave up kickoff returns of 51, 63, and 97. They said they weren't too concerned about it because the guys were there in position to make tackles. They just didn't make the plays, and they thought they had worked on it well enough all week so it wouldn't happen again, but they just gave up a big one here. And Jordan Polk, good to see he's up on his feet.
Well, that part's not good to see.
No, he needs some help to get off.
Marty Gilliard from Cincinnati is the guy that had the big game last week for the Bearcats.
He's pretty good, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He had 7 catches for 119 yards receiving as well. So he had a huge game against this Oklahoma defense and the special teams.
All right, let's see if Washington can do anything to this great field position, starting at its own 47-yard line. Locker will give it off to Freeman, and just as he had before, Freeman can't get out of the backfield because there's a team picture of the defense standing in front of him.
Yeah, DeMarcus Granger, number 96, did a great job. Got penetration into the backfield, forced the play to bump outside. Again, you look at this Oklahoma defense. Up front, they are really solid. They've got some questions, some young guys, some new guys playing in the secondary, a couple new guys playing at outside linebacker. But up front, they are very stout.
On 4 of his carries, Freeman has not been able to get back even to the line of scrimmage, hasn't had a chance. Locker throws underneath. That's going to be complete to Freeman, but only for about 4 yards. You're watching ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Hampton Hotels, where the 3rd-ranked Oklahoma Sooners are taking on the Washington Huskies here at Husky Stadium in Seattle, Washington. Due to time constraints, we move ahead to further action. Murray pounds straight ahead, close. No signal yet. And it looks like he is only inches away. Second and goal, Washington changing personnel.
The thing I like about Oklahoma's version of the spread offense is that it's not pure shotgun. They can get under center and still run power football and do all the other stuff they do out of the spread as well.
Washington may have jumped offside. The ball is loose.
See, I don't know if Washington jumped off sides or if the center didn't snap the ball. But there was movement, and I'm not sure the ball was snapped on time, and the ball became loose.
Alameda Ta'amo was the guy in there messing up the timing of the play, but we checked the penalty. And it was encroachment by the defense.
Yeah, he did. Tried to time it up, got in there a little too soon.
Bradford, the quarterback, leaning in. And there's the touchdown. Bradford was never stopped, so he just held the ball over the goal line, and it's a touchdown.
Now again, that big offensive line for Oklahoma just kind of imposing their will on this Washington defense in this drive, and Sam Bradford gets the easy touchdown.
That's the only place I disagree with a quick whistle. Obviously his momentum was stopped and he wasn't going to go anywhere. All he did was hold the ball out of the goal line and got a touchdown out of it. The point after for Stevens is good, and Oklahoma extends its advantage to 20-0 after a 70-yard drive. You're watching ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Hampton Hotels, where the third-ranked Oklahoma Sooners are taking on the Washington Huskies here at Husky Stadium in Seattle, Washington. Due to time constraints, we move ahead to further action.
Well, Kevin Wilson, the offensive coordinator for Oklahoma, has a long background with this spread offense and the no huddle. He did it when he was at Northwestern years ago with the Zach Kustoks and the Brett Bazinets. In fact, a young coach from Bowling Green went up and studied them at Northwestern. You might know him, Urban Meyer. This has had a long history.
And it's had tremendous success all over the country. Brown inside the 10 to about the 7. And Iglesias is upset because he missed a block. Trent Williams, the only junior starter on that line, threw a good one inside.
Yeah, he threw a good block. Also, the fullback, Matt Clapp, number 34, did a great job of cutting off the backside end. But this is what I like about Oklahoma's spread, is the ability to go under center and run I-formation power football, as well as go 5 receivers, no backs, and throw out of the shotgun. Their versatility is impressive.
Brown again, picking his way this time to the 5. And you mentioned the versatility before. That's one of the reasons they can run this up-tempo thing, because they've got guys. You mentioned the tight ends before.
Right.
They can line up at fullback. They can play wide receiver.
Yep.
We've seen the running backs go out in the slot and be wide receivers. You got that kind of versatility. You can keep the same people on the field.
Yep, absolutely. And again, sometimes the argument against the spread is that you become too finesse-oriented. You don't have power aspects to your running game if you do all just runs out of the shotgun. But this is a power running football team as well as a spread passing team.
Murray, touchdown. There is a marker down.
Illegal shift by the offense, not setting. 5-yard penalty, replay second down.
And their own mistakes are about the only thing that's keeping Oklahoma out of the Washington end zone.
Now again, this Washington defense, they have faced Oregon in the first week, maybe the most explosive offensive team in the Pac-10. A lot of option, misdirection, hide the football, great speed. Then BYU last week, who's got an experienced offensive line and a great quarterback in Max Hall, who put 59 on UCLA today. And now Oklahoma, a combination of both.
They're going to love to face just a normal team one of these days, and not somebody that's an offensive juggernaut. Murray tackled by Houston, but not before he got inside the 5. So Oregon, #1 in the country in offense. BYU 16th, Oklahoma 11th. Oklahoma may go up after this one. And it's no wonder that Washington, with all of its youth, is right near the bottom of the NCAA rankings in defense. Well, they say what doesn't kill you makes you better.
Yeah.
This is close. Blitz against Bradford, throws for the end zone, too easy. Touchdown. A perfect throw to Ryan Broyles, who had 2 steps on the defender, and Bradford just laid it in there. Broyles is the weapon who came back a week ago. We've already seen how good he can be.
That was well designed and really well executed by Ryan Broyles, the young receiver, because he had to pause for a count or two before he released into that route to allow the play to develop, and he didn't rush it, and that's why he was wide open.
Patience is not exactly a hallmark you get in many redshirt freshmen. Point after is good. Bradford has hit 6 straight passes, 12 out of 15 in the first half, 129 yards. Oklahoma huddling up on the sideline, and now they'll come out offensively to take over the 24-yard line. Now she's happy. And now Moses Madu, number 17, will get a chance as the third tailback. And he'll lose a couple. Madu drilled as he got to the line of scrimmage, and it was Johnny Curtin, the 296-pound senior defensive tackle.
You know, I want to make a point again about this Oklahoma offense that is very unique to me. Is it's very difficult to have a team that is both good at running power football and pass blocking and throwing out of the spread with empty backfield sets. And this team, what they've shown so far early in the year, is as good as I've seen of a team that has both of those components.
Keep it on the ground, the outside to Madu. Well, I think it's a tribute to the offensive line.
Yeah.
I mean, some offensive lines are really good at running one system,
right,
but usually not a second or a third. They seem to be good at everything.
I mean, if you're a good run blocking team, typically you're not good at pass blocking.
Yeah.
And when you get in third down situations, you struggle. But this team, with their offensive line, they do both pretty well. James Patton is the offensive line coach, his third year under Bob Stoops. And I think a lot of credit has to go to him, too, because this is an excellent Oklahoma offensive line.
Well, you bet. When they're playing that well, he's doing something right as a coach. Chris Brown checks back in. Wholesale blitz. Bradford stands in the pocket, throws underneath, complete Iglesias. Down to the 12. It's enough for a first down. Iglesias, their possession receiver. Chris Brown threw a good block as Donald Butler was blitzing. Let's check in with Holly.
Well, you're talking about the Oklahoma offensive line, guys, and there's a reason they're looking good running both the spread and the power run game. They're gigantic, first of all, but after the bowl game against West Virginia, they actually asked them to lose some weight. Their trainer, Jerry Schmidt, put them on a training program. They wanted them to be quicker. They felt like West Virginia out-quicked them. They lost the weight, and, guys, they're looking good.
Boy, aren't they ever. Madu, 5 to the 1. Moses Madu out of Norman, Oklahoma, homegrown product. And the stable just keeps doing its job. Boy, it got quiet in here, didn't it? Yeah. I mean, 72,000 people not making a sound. And you really can't blame them. They're on the verge of being down by 34 in the first half. And now they are. Madu just walks in. And this is really the last thing that Tyrone Willingham needed to see from his club. To have 30 hung on them in the first half.
Well, they've had over 30 hung on them, but, you know, they've been their own worst enemy. The turnovers, you just cannot turn the football over to a superior football team the way that they've done in the first half and hope to not have this happen. I mean, you know, Oklahoma is capable of scoring like this on anybody in the country, but when you help them with turnovers, you're asking for a butt whipping, and that's what this is right now.
Can you say that on ESPN? I guess you can. Well, you can. I can't. But it's gotten up to 34 to nothing, so I think that qualifies. You're watching ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Hampton Hotels, where the third-ranked Oklahoma Sooners are taking on the Washington Huskies here at Husky Stadium in Seattle, Washington. Due to time constraints, we move ahead to further action. Granger just helped up, and Granger, remember, was the guy who committed the personal foul penalty on the previous play, and let's see what happened to him this time.
Well, he gets triple teamed. There's 3 Husky guys that went after Granger on that play.
And he got punched. 72, Casey Bulika looked like he threw a right hand. And that is just, there's no other word for that than payback.
Yeah.
And Ronnie Fouch, the redshirt freshman out of Redlands, California, has come in for Locker. He throws Aguilar. cut down as he got to the 17-yard line. Lendy Holmes, number 11, with the tackle. There is...
Yeah, there's a flag down on the far sideline, over on the Oklahoma sideline. I'm not sure what the call is. Away from the play.
It would seem like a sideline violation if it's anything.
Delay of game, sideline interference by the defense. That is a 5-yard penalty from the succeeding spot. First down.
Now, Ronnie Fouch, the coaches told us, had a great camp, and he is an excellent pocket passer, probably a better pocket passer, particularly on the deep throws, than Jake Locker. Doesn't have near the running ability, but can throw the football.
He's a high school senior, threw for almost 2,700 yards for his high school in Redlands, California, and they have it with 13 seconds to go. Holly, what do you have?
Guys, Jake Locker is standing here on the sideline. It looks like he's available to go back in. I just saw him tell a guy, I'm fine, but they're going with Fouch right now. As you said, they have complete confidence in him. They're going to let Locker get a break and not get him beat up here before the half.
Yeah,
exactly.
Looked like he just got the wind knocked out of him. When that helmet hits, you know, you're in a very vulnerable position, and that's the interesting thing. You say, wow, you can't let a guy like Jake Locker run the ball as many times this year as he did last year, a guy like Tim Tebow. But when they run the ball, they actually are more protected. They know how to get behind their pads. They know how to deliver a blow. Where they take the worst hits is when they throw the football out of the pocket when they're not protected. And that was a case where, in that case, Locker got hit right underneath the shoulder pads and probably knocked the wind out of it.
Four-man rush. Fouch throws to the end zone and throws wide. Stops the clock with 6 seconds left. You know what I would like to see right now, and I don't know if the officials will do it, is go to both locker rooms and say, all right, we've had enough of this stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to come out and retaliate in the second half. We're done with this. And maybe one of the fun parts of this is going to watch them leave together, because there is only one tunnel off the field into the locker room.
Another low snap by Garcia.
Fouch for the end zone, has a man tipped away and incomplete. Wide open was Aguilar. The pass floated to him.
Well, the pass floated, Mike, but it floated because it was late, because the ball was on the ground from the snap.
You're right.
The low snap has busted up the timing on a couple plays today for Washington. Aguilar was open. The design of the play was good, but the throw was late because the snap was poor.
And now the boos were because they're going to try a field goal from 28 yards. Boy, this is a tough call to make.
No.
I know you want points, but so what? They missed it, but so what? What if you get 3 points? You're down 34-0. Go for the touchdown. It's halftime here at Husky Stadium in Seattle, Washington, where the third-ranked Sooners are taking on the Huskies. Be sure to catch ESPN's College Game Day, built by the Home Depot, every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Join Chris Fowler, Lee Corso, and Kirk Herbstreit for 2 hours of features and analysis, getting you ready for all the day's college football action. We'll be back with more from Seattle after these messages. 34-0 at the half. The first half numbers, only the passing yards anywhere near close, but look at the total yard dominance, 330 to 164. And Washington has certainly been its own worst enemy with 3 first-half turnovers. And the Sooners are just too good to give them that kind of an advantage. Oklahoma on the return with Iglesias. There is a flag down near the 30-yard line, and so is Iglesias out of bounds.
Holding, number 25 on the return team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Well, there's no way to sugarcoat it for Tyrone Willingham. It was just an ugly first-half performance.
Well, it really was. I mean, the 3 turnovers, as you mentioned, really hurt their cause. But let's give credit where credit's due, too. Oklahoma is an outstanding-looking football team. Offensively, explosive. They're powerful. And defensively, they really shut down Jake Locker and the Washington offense, with the exception of just a few plays. I mean, this was a dominant effort by a national championship-type football team here in the first half.
Well, it was the kind of performance we expected to see, sort of hoping that Washington would be able to put up a little bit more resistance, but they haven't so far. DeMarco Murray straight up the middle, and Bradford, boy, how impressive has he been?
Well, his poise in the pocket under duress has been excellent. His balance, I mentioned his feet, always underneath him, whether he's rolling out or throwing out of the pocket, and then accuracy right on the money the entire first half. 13 of 16 for 142 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, you just can't play any more efficiently from the quarterback position than he did.
He is a legitimate star. And DeMarco Murray, the starting tailback, one of 3 that's been used so far, taken down by Senio Kamete.
You know, the one thing also that Sam Bradford does, and Kevin Wilson brought this up in our meeting, and you can see it when he plays, he really plays within himself. He doesn't try to force things. You know, you don't see him gamble on throws very often. Plays within himself, knows what he can do, what he can't do, and he trusts the parts around him to make plays.
Bradford, the quick toss this time. That's Broyles, and Broyles with that great speed breaks away midfield and has a convoy. No signal, touchdown. One official was looking at the other to see if Broyles had gone out of bounds. He had not. And the redshirt freshman, making the second start of his career, goes 77 yards on the short pop from Bradford.
I think he was shocked that he didn't go down after the initial contact. He made the catch on a short route, got bounced around a couple times, but never went down. And you mentioned early in the broadcast the thing that he brings to this offense is that ability to go deep and to make the big play, to take a short catch and turn it into a big play.
Bradford so far this year, 11 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions. He's completing more than 3/4 of his passes, and he's hit his last 8.
Look, this is a 4-yard route. I mean, it's a quick throw, and then nobody got him to the ground. And you see him looking around like, is that it? I mean, do I get to run now? And run he did with the convoy all the way to the end zone.
Quentin Richardson, number 28, was down there trying to hold him up, and it looked like he did stay in bounds.
He's got a little extra gear, a little extra bounce that some of these other talented receivers may not have. And again, just the wealth of talent they have at the skill position on this Oklahoma team is pretty impressive.
And in case you missed the story, he would have played a lot last year as a true freshman, but he got involved in an incident. He stole some gasoline the night before the opening game and was suspended for the entire year. So it cost him that season. Probably overall good for him because he got to grow up a little bit.
He went to Norman High School. He's from right there locally, and sometimes kids that grow up like that maybe have to separate from some friends or some acquaintances from high school and grow up a little bit, and it appears he's done that.
Holt shakes 6-7 tackles, taken down at the 17-yard line. Let's check in with Holland.
Well, guys, I checked in with both coaches at the half. Bob Stoops, I asked him about all the extracurricular stuff after the whistle, and if he addressed it with his team. He said, of course, that's not us, and I don't think it's Washington either. Tyrone Willingham said, you know, we just have to play. When guys aren't playing, when they're not focused, they tend to get caught up in that other stuff. He said, we got to get back to worrying about us. I asked him about the health of his quarterback, Jake Locker. He said he's fine, he's good to go.
Holly, this defense right now for Washington on a pace to give up 800 yards to Oklahoma, and it looks like it has a chance to get even uglier as the game goes along. Logan, the flanker, came out. The pass was a little low, and it's incomplete. You got to feel a little bit for Locker. because when we saw him early last year, first or second game he played, just saw the highlights, you thought, boy, this kid is going to be a real player.
Yeah. Well, he is definitely a highly skilled guy. I mean, he's got a strong arm. He's a great runner. He's been pretty bottled up in this game so far tonight. But, you know, I think when you watch him and you see his skill set, and you think the guy over in Gainesville last year, Tim Tebow, won the Heisman Trophy running a similar style type offense. And you think, boy, if Jake Locker was in that offense on that team, would he have won the Heisman, or would he have had the same kind of success? And I lean towards saying yes, he would. I mean, he is a tremendous athlete, much like Tim Tebow. Maybe a little faster than Tim, maybe not as strong. They both have good arms. Tim Tebow actually completed a high percentage of his passes last year and is again this year. That's the one area where Locker needs to really improve.
Quarterback draw. And I know when you say that, you're not taking anything away from Tebow.
No, absolutely not.
Nothing.
One of my favorite players in college football.
And he's a great kid, and so is Locker. I mean, you're rooting for both of them because they exemplify what a college player ought to be and what a quote-unquote student athlete ought to be.
Absolutely. Jake Locker wanted to be part of the turnaround here at Washington. Could have gone anywhere. Felt comfortable here, and his mom, Anita, felt even more comfortable with him coming to Washington.
And he's from down the road in Ferndale, Washington. So he gets to see all of his relatives come and see him play here. Felt very comfortable with Tyrone Willingham. As we said, grew up in Ferndale. His dad, Scott, coached him as a kid. Played summer baseball for a wooden bat league out here. Said he discovered he didn't love baseball enough to play it, to dedicate himself to it. And he's going to concentrate on football. Was the Pac-10 freshman of the year a year ago. Rushed for nearly 1,000 yards. Just a tremendous runner. Oklahoma showing blitz, and here they come. Locker unloads and got it again to DeAndre Goodwin. Check back in with Holly for a little more on Jake Locker.
Well, guys, he actually did his homework before he chose to come to Washington. He visited about 5 other Pac-10 schools. He said his mom, Anita, was the one who finally saw through all the you-know-what and thought that Tyrone Willingham was the guy that cared the most about her son and that he would fit the best here. He also said, you know, I'm a community service guy. Coach Willingham told us he used to bake cookies for a charity back home. That's a big part of this program. He said, plus I've met about 100 of the most successful businessmen. The networking here has been unbelievable.
Todd, did you make cookies in high school? Was that part of your recruiting process, your community service?
No, I didn't make cookies. Didn't do that. Not sure I knew how. My kids know how to make cookies.
Do they?
My boys are, yeah, they're pretty good at it. Well, Jake Locker, you know, this is a rough start to the season. First of all, you got to remember, he had a torn hamstring August the 7th and missed about 11 days of training camp. So when they played Oregon the first game, he was not 100% healthy. And then he took a lot of shots in that game, had a rough game against BYU, and he was healthy coming into this ball game, but this has been a very physical Oklahoma defense that's knocked him around a little bit.
Locker got that really nice throwing motion. Another completion to DeAndre Goodwin.
Right now, if you're Washington, if you're Jake Locker, you can't look at the scoreboard. You got to just try to find some positive things within the context of this game. Move the football. Try to score some points. Try to build some confidence as an offense. I mean, you just can't get caught up in we're down 41-0 and the game is hopeless. Play football. Just keep playing.
You're watching ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Hampton Hotels, where the third-ranked Oklahoma Sooners are taking on the Washington Huskies here at Husky Stadium in Seattle, Washington. Due to time constraints, we move ahead to further action. Locker, good protection. He'll take off now. This is where he's the most dangerous. Got a great block in the corner. Jake Locker, touchdown. Willie Griffin peeled back and gave him a block that allowed him to turn the corner.
I'm not so sure Jake Locker wouldn't have turned the corner anyway with his speed. but the block by Griffin secured it for sure. And we talked to the Oklahoma coaches about the speed of Jake Locker. They said, we put film of him against USC and Ohio State on for our guys, and that got their attention. When we saw him running by those guys with angles, our guys knew he was really fast.
He's sort of a cross between Pat White of West Virginia and Tim Tebow. He's not as fast as White. He may be faster than Tebow.
Yep.
Their arm is right in between those two guys. It's a pretty good combination with whatever he's got. Oklahoma will retain possession. They're ruling he was down by contact, so no fumble. But they are going, let's see where they're going to spot the ball.
Well, I see 2 footballs on the field. I wonder which one they're going to play with.
Let's play with both.
Yeah. Which one they're going to use.
I've never seen this.
They got one on the 30 and one on the 32.
Well, the one on the 32 is obviously a first down.
Now they got to check and see where the ball is supposed to be marked, I believe.
Now you would have a different element in this game. Snap whichever ball you like.
You know, I just want to go back and make one more point to finish off the story of what happened last week in the BYU game. I mean, it affected where the kick was being made from, and BYU came through and blocked the extra point. And it was a much longer kick than a normal extra point. But you know, BYU may very well have won that game. You got to give credit to them as well. They played an excellent game. They're a very good football team on the road, and they came in here and you know, so you can't necessarily say that lost the game for Washington, but it certainly affected that extra point kick. And it's an unfortunate way for a game to end. You want the game to be decided on the field by the players playing the game, not the guys wearing the striped shirts.
Check in with Holly.
You know, Jake Locker, after that, he went into the locker room and he did apologize to his teammates and tell them it would never happen again. But our Joe Shad came out here to do a feature this week, and you know, when their sports information staff told him about it, he said, you know, I'm not going to change my opinion on that. I think it was a bad call. I don't think they should have called it. And he was really adamant he wasn't going to change who he was and how he played. In fact, he had text messages from about over 100 people, including Archie Manning, who said, you know, hey, we're supporting you out here. But he also got words of wisdom from his dad. His dad hates the kind of guys that celebrate. He's been very strict about it as his coach growing up. But he said, son, I love the way you play. Don't ever change.
That's good advice.
Yep.
And we don't like guys who call attention to themselves and the hot dogs. But he was not calling attention to himself. Yep. He was celebrating a brilliant play with 2 seconds left to go in the game that gave his team a chance to win it. There's a big difference. Oklahoma has a first down. Iglesias on the flanker screen gets it out past the 35. And let me go back to something you said earlier, Todd. The variety of plays and offensive systems that Oklahoma is able to run. I mean, that is just so impressive, especially when they get in close ball games. They'll be able to do basically anything they want that they think that defense is vulnerable to.
And it all revolves around their offensive line and their quarterback's decision-making.
Bradford, nice touch pass, gets this complete. And that's Jermaine Gresham, the tight end. 64 yards. Let me paraphrase Buddy Ryan. All he does is catch touchdowns. Frustration on the face of Tyrone Willingham.
Well, it's sloppy tackling by the Washington defense, and we saw it on the Broyles touchdown, and now we see it again on the Gresham touchdown. Good throw and catch. Okay, you give up a play, but don't give up a 64-yard touchdown just because you're sloppy trying to make the tackle. And that should not have been a touchdown.
Gresham is 6'6", 261. And he can run. You don't think this guy has an NFL feature? 18 out of 21 for Bradford. 5 touchdowns. You're watching ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Hampton Hotels, where the third-ranked Oklahoma Sooners are taking on the Washington Huskies here at Husky Stadium in Seattle, Washington. Due to time constraints, we move ahead to further action. ESPN's College Football Primetime is available in sparkling clear ESPN HD. And right now, I think the Washington Huskies would like a little less clarity because they are getting mauled by the third-ranked Oklahoma Sooners, 48-7. And Oklahoma has not called off the Dogs. They've called off the Sooners because they've got their second-team offense in there in the person of Joey Halsley, the quarterback. They're still rotating tailbacks. Moses Madu gets this carry.
Well, what you get to do right now if you're Oklahoma is you work your backups, not just your quarterback, but more importantly, you work your backup offensive linemen. You know, you've got an outstanding offensive line. 4 of those 5 guys are seniors. Now you get some of those young backups in, your sophomores and your freshmen and your juniors, and you let them get a little game experience, because ultimately, you know, that's that position where you need depth.
Never too early to think about the rankings either, because come the end of the year, you want to have the best possible shot at it. Here goes Madu, taken out of bounds around the 20. So with what is obviously a very impressive win by Oklahoma, do they leapfrog Georgia, who was number 2 this week? And we've already seen the voters are willing to move people in and out of the top spot because of scoring margin. Whether you like that or not, it's obviously a factor.
Well, it can be scoring margin. It can be an unimpressive kind of a win. I think they probably will jump Georgia. Whether it matters that much, I mean, I personally don't think even at this point the polls are that important. I mean, I personally think that there shouldn't be any poll until the first week of October, and you let teams play 3 or 4 or 5 games and also play some games of some significance, you know, and by that time, by the 1st of October, everybody has played some pretty good competition, and you have a better idea who's for real. But this team right here in white is for real. I mean, I can vouch for them.
They've got all the elements, that veteran offensive line, an incredibly accurate passer. Halsley throws for the end zone. This one is overthrown. They have, I think, a good enough running game.
Yeah.
And they have a fast, tough defense.
Yeah.
What's not to like?
The only thing you don't know about this team right now, I mean, it's young. You don't know Jimmy Stevens, their freshman kicker, is 1 for 1 on the year in field goals. That's all they've ever had to call on him. So you don't know yet if they get into that kind of a game where they need some clutch kicks, how he's going to respond. But everything else that you know about this team right now is pretty good passing marks, I'd say.
But that's a pretty good thing not to know, isn't it?
Yeah, as long as you don't have to.
Screen, Madu, blocker in front, down to the 6-yard line. It will be 1st and goal, and it was Brandon Walker, the right guard out of Detroit. He's one of the 4 senior starters out of 5 that was out there in front blocking.
You know, when I think of a team that has the potential to be a national championship contending team, there are certain things I think are very important. Number one, you've got to be strong up front on both sides of the ball, your offensive line and your defensive line, and you need experience at quarterback. And they have that. Oklahoma has that, all 3 phases, in very impressive fashion. I've been very impressed with this offensive line, very impressed with the defensive line, and of course Sam Bradford through the first 3 weeks of this 2008 season has been spectacular.
It was an offside call against Washington. They moved the ball inside the 5, and Madu lowers his shoulder and pounds his way into the end zone.
Well, they came in averaging 54.5 points per game, and they are at their mark right now with most of the 4th quarter still remaining.
Well, we got a final. Auburn has won 3-2.
3-2.
3-2.
Wow.
Who got the save?
That's a little different spread offense. Tony Franklin, the new offensive coordinator at Auburn, installed the spread offense. 3-2. Wow.
Apparently it's not completely installed yet.
We'll see them next week.
Yes, we will. They've just gone above the average. It's 55-7. You're watching ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Hampton Hotels, where the third-ranked Oklahoma Sooners are taking on the Washington Huskies here at Husky Stadium in Seattle, Washington. Due to time constraints, we move ahead to further action. Ronnie Fouch in a quarterback for the rest of the way for Washington. Throws on the run and throws a perfect strike. Nice toss by Fouch that time to Charles Hawkins, who was a senior, getting a chance to play a little bit here in the fourth quarter.
Well, we talked about Fouch being good out of the pocket, or throwing from the pocket. This time rolling out, throwing back across. Got away with it, but a nice accurate throw.
Coaches say this kid, if it's necessary for him to play from Washington, can certainly hold his own as a pocket passer. Brandon Jakubowski into the ball game, number 35. As both coaches going just about as deep as they can into their bench and giving people a chance to play here in the fourth quarter with 10:53 to go. Oh, you just wonder what is going through Tyrone Willingham's mind right now, as he has seen 3 top 20 teams come through here, and now the number 3 team in the country may be getting ready to elevate itself to number 2, and seeing his team just hammered in 2 of those 3 games. They admitted they did not play well when they played against Oregon. BYU, they had a chance to at least tie, barring that controversial penalty call, but today it's been no contest.
Offside by number 89. The offensive man lifted when threatened. Remains first down.
You know, we told you how bad it was defensively. They'd been giving up almost 486 yards a game coming into this one. It's going to go up. It's going to go over 500 a game, because Oklahoma is on the verge of 600 in this one. And you can't win giving up that many yards. I don't care how good your offense might be. You can get Tom Brady at full health and the Patriots, and if they're giving up 600 yards, you lose. Holly Rowe, what do you have?
Guys, the Oklahoma training staff working on middle linebacker Ryan Reynolds right now. He's got some problems with his right knee. They're doing extensive ligament tests, you know, that are pretty standard, but he's really complaining of some discomfort on the outside right underneath the kneecap. So Oklahoma doesn't give us any injury updates. That's their standard policy. I can also tell you DeMarcus Granger out for the game. As you saw, he's on crutches, left foot injury.
Holly, thank you so much. Here's Fouch under pressure, rolls away from it, and launches for the end zone, up for grabs, tipped, and a rebound on the bounce for a touchdown. And that looked like Jakubowski, and it was. Kept his eyes open and kept playing, took the ricochet from Alvin Logan, and Jakubowski, trailing the play, made the catch.
Well, it's kind of like a Hail Mary play. You know, you go up, you try to keep it alive, and Jakubowski, exactly right. Watched it. Look at his eyes. He tracked the ball the whole way and was right there for the carom and the touchdown.
That was a Hail Jakubowski. You don't see those very often. Chance for the Huskies to celebrate. Hail Jakubowski. You're watching ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Hampton Hotels, where the third-ranked Oklahoma Sooners are taking on the Washington Huskies here at Husky Stadium in Seattle, Washington. Due to time constraints, we move ahead to further action. Oklahoma just working on the clock here. There's a first down and a monster hit by Nate Williams. Holy cow, what a shot. Let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, I'm with the Big 12 Commissioner, Dan Beebe, and last year was such a great season for the Big 12. How would you describe what that did for your conference nationally?
Well, it was terrific. I mean, we had 4 teams in the top 10 in football, twice as many as any other conference in the country. Won the national championship in men's basketball, #1 conference in the nation in women's basketball, had great success in spring sports. So it was a great year, a great way for me to start off my tenure. But, you know, sometimes that's a little bit fearful because maybe it only goes down from there. Better
lucky than good, right? But we had a tough game this week. Kansas, South Florida, what was that all about?
Well, that was so hard to watch when Reeson did such a great job, brought his team back, and then had that tough interception at the end. Kansas is going to be a great team. They really play hard. They come at it all the time.
How would you evaluate this Oklahoma team from what you've seen tonight?
It's very strong, too. I don't know. I'd hate to be a coach in our league this year because Missouri, Oklahoma, Nebraska's looking good. Texas Tech is looking great. So we got a lot of great teams going on this year.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Holly. Appreciate all you do.
Holly, thank you so much, Mr. Commissioner. Thank you. And it certainly has been a couple of banner years for your conference. Sports Center is coming up when we're done here. The clock is running. Only 33 seconds to go, and you have to take your hat off to the Sooners. They have just been magnificent in every department. Going to be pretty tough for Bob Stoops to come out of this one and say, guys, we did all this stuff wrong that we got to work on. They didn't do anything wrong.
No, they were very solid, and they wanted to play well on the road, and they did. From the very beginning, there was no sloppy moments in this game for the Oklahoma Sooners on either side of the football.
And this was the 100th victory at Oklahoma for Bob Stoops. That makes Oklahoma the only school that has ever had 4 coaches win 100 games. The final score, Oklahoma 55, Washington 14. Coming up next on ESPN Sports Center for a wrap-up of this game. Catch us on ESPN News. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Todd Blackledge, Holly Rowe, and our entire ESPN crew, this is Mike Patrick. Thanks for watching, and good night from Seattle.